Recording in progress.
That is so loud. So loud. My God. Well, howdy.
All the things I love with me, Ife.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All the Things I Love with me, Ife. I hope that you're having a great week. And I hope that you've also been getting into all the things that you love too. Last week, for some reason, I was getting into talking about the death rate in the United States. And if you have yet to see that episode, I'll add a card, I guess. Is that what I'm supposed to do here? Maybe. Yeah, so for some reason last week I wanted to talk about the death rate, and you know what? That's what it was. So I'm doing this thing where I'm just talking about stuff that I want to talk about, and whatever it is, that's what it's going to be. So this week I did a little more planning. I guess I should consider the fact that people are looking at this. It's not all about me. It's not all about me. And so I decided I was going to make a little note thingy about what I wanted to talk about and kind of go with that. So, welcome to this episode. Since we're working this out, but I just feel like the light on me, it's just too much. Let me see if I can adjust this. But even then, I don't know what to do, you guys. If you have any suggestions on how I can make my camera not be like this, it's a webcam, okay? We're doing the best we can with what we have, all right? I mean, I did pretty well here, and I purchased a whole curtain, and I purchased a whole green screen, okay? Just so that I could go on Zoom and use virtual backgrounds. Okay, I'm sure that there's a better way to do this, but I don't know what it is. And to me, Zoom virtual backgrounds are pretty neat. Like, look at this. I'm in the Bahamas. I'm soaking in the sunshine. When really I'm just in dreary, rainy Brooklyn. Because it's dreary and it's rainy here right now. Not as dreary or rainy as it is in London. I definitely would have to say that. But right now, I suppose we are just having a few days of rain. But we love Brooklyn. We'll let her be. I think that if Brooklyn were a gender, Brooklyn would be like a really hot girl who has like tattoos and some kind of dyed hair, and she's probably an artist. She's probably a musician. Maybe she plays the guitar in a rock band. Maybe she's a singer. But she definitely owns a leather jacket, and she definitely has tattoos on her hands. She's one of those. But she's like, Brooklyn, if Brooklyn were a person, would be this just desirable woman that everyone wants to be with, but nobody can seem to capture her heart. I love Brooklyn. So this episode, I thought that I would, first of all, thank my sponsors. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I wanted to get on here. Get on here sounds like it just was snap your fingers and there you are. But this time around, it took some time. And it was quite the hassle getting on here. Namely because I spent so much time trying to adjust my camera settings so that I'm not looking like I've got light shining out of my forehead. But I suppose, if that's what it is, that's what it's going to be. And hey, if I radiate with light, I guess I'll just radiate with light externally too. So I thank my sponsors. Thank you, sponsors, OG sponsors, Mom and Dad. Today I wanted to talk more about who I am. I realized that, I'm just getting on here and I'm just talking as a random person and you don't know anything about me. So I don't know. I thought I would share a little bit about myself just for the sake of being honest and being open and being transparent and yada, yada, blah, 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 right? So my name is Ife, and as you can tell by the name of this podcast, Ife means love. I originally started a YouTube channel to house some of my creative music works. So I've been involved in music in some capacity from the time I was a little child, where, I played the violin classically. And as I got older, I had different feelings about that. But I always played the violin, I always played the violin, even through college. I was in orchestra. I majored in music. I also majored in Japanese studies. So, being in Japan and, I speak Japanese. That's something that's also a part of my background. But being from Brooklyn, being a musician, being someone who has a background, knowing what it's like to be in the mental health system, knowing what it's like to be broke AF on Medicaid and to also be in the mental health system. And then I later on became a mental health professional. So you might ask, well, why are you doing this podcast then? So this little thing happens where New York and then subsequently the government in the White House in our country, our beautiful country, decided to tell people that if they didn't want to inject a solution into their bodies, that, well, you're not going to be able to work at your job anymore. And that's just tough luck for you. Tough cookies, right? So for me, for many reasons, I did not want to do this and I wasn't going to do it. I am a healthy person. However, I definitely believe in as much as I can, making decisions for ourselves that are more aligned with what we value and what we prioritize. And, so many people say, well, you can't say that because it's not about freedom, because you're not doing this and you're going to hurt other people. Other people are going to die because of you. Well, if we look at the data, if we look at the science, we know that that's not true. So regardless, I think that it's more so along the lines of like, well, hey, I made this decision. I'm making an informed decision that I absolutely believe is best for me. And, well, according to the public health system in New York City, which I don't want to go into, well, people in public health in New York, people in public health in the country, like, they're not elected officials. Not to say that that would make anything better, but for the sake of being honest and open and transparent, it's not going to persuade me. Someone telling me I'm going to take your job away from you is not going to persuade me to do something that my conscience would not allow me to do. So, hence, I'm doing this podcast. I mean, hey, they're definitely not mutually exclusive. It's not like I was like, oh, well, I'm not here I don't work in this hospital anymore, because I was working in the hospital. We've worked on the front lines. We were working all through the pandemic, and it's a shame. It's a shame, but I think at the same time, it's probably for the best. For every person who decided that they didn't want to do it, I would say it's probably for the best. For whatever is going on in the background, I would think that nobody would want to be there right now, given what's going on. So I think it's for the best for me. And I'm recognizing that there were things that I was missing out on by being so consumed with my job. I don't think that I was as consumed as other people I worked with, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't still consumed with it, because I work as, that's my field as a mental health professional, as a peer specialist, peer counselor. This is an amazing field that I would love to tell you guys more about, where people use their lived experience and share the things that they've taken away from their own recovery process. And I use what I know is true about humans and about mental health, because I lived it and because I walked it out. I use that wisdom and that understanding to educate other people about their mental health. So people like me, and you don't have to be a peer specialist to be really involved in your job as a mental health professional. It's a job where your emotions are really involved, because that's what mental health is. You're talking about beliefs. You're talking about thoughts. You're talking about emotions. You're talking about feelings. These things, being absorbed in that daily, not knowing what's going to happen day to day, and every day walking in fresh and then just trying to leave it at the door. You're going to walk in fresh every day. However, it doesn't mean that you're going to leave that stuff at the door when you leave. And we do our best. I did my best to make a divide between my work life and home. I did the best that I could. And I think I did an amazing job. I praise God for that. I did an amazing job keeping a really good work-life balance. Unlike a lot of people that I worked with, I actually have a community. I actually have friends and supporters and people who are like family to me. And I call them my family. We've been together and they know me. They really know me. And I couldn't have said that maybe 5 years ago. I couldn't have said that. And that was probably a big, major part of me going through a crisis and needing to be, hospitalized and that kind of stuff, which I would love to talk about eventually. It was amazing. I say all that to say, unlike a lot of my colleagues, had a really decent work-life balance. However, even though I did have an amazing work-life balance, I still experienced a lot of sometimes playing with burnout, just exhaustion, emotional exhaustion. And by the end of the day, I would come home and what would I do? I would make dinner, or if I didn't make dinner, I would heat up something. I would get a stiff drink and I would get into bed. And I got home at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And that's what I would do every day. But that's, to me, how I stayed fresh and how I took care of myself. And now, because I don't have that like emotional well that I'm climbing out of every single day, I have to get into a different routine now, and I have to get into something different. And yeah, I was definitely tempted to just jump right back into another type of work situation, which is what I was doing, applying. I was interviewing at a place and made it really far, made it to the last round, which the whole interview process itself was so taxing. But I felt, it's money. Maybe this is my escape. Maybe this is my way out. So I went along with it, and I was really presumptuous because I was like, well, of course I'm going to get hired. Of course I'm going to get hired. Sure, I'm going to get hired. But in my own heart, I definitely had doubts about it. And one main doubt that I had was, is this just going to be another one of those taxing, distracting, exhausting things that I'm just going to thrust myself right back into? Is this going to be a job that I'm actually going to enjoy? Am I really going to enjoy it? Is it going to be worth the exhaustion after the day's over? Is it going to be worth it? And the answer to me, it turned out to be, it's not. Because I didn't get hired. So I feel so grateful. I feel so grateful because I actually have more opportunity now than I would have if I would have pigeonholed myself into that job. But the way my faith is set up, if it's not for me, this here, what I'm going to be doing and stepping out into, God willing, I get a good routine going and I get up in the morning and I do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm saying this to you, and it is 5 minutes to 4 o'clock in the morning. So far, I'm not doing really great with that. And it's Saturday. But I know that as I'm stepping into what is the right thing for me right now to do, I know the Lord is going to provide funds and is going to provide everything that I need. And it's amazing because, I am also professionally in music. I've done a lot of different things with music since being a wee lass playing the wee violin. I hope that was an Irish accent or a Scottish accent. Actually, I'm not even really sure how to do accents very well, but accents are things I definitely want to entertain you with on this channel. But since I was a 3-year-old playing the violin, classical violin, until I still play the violin from time to time, but the last time I played the violin was probably like 2 years ago. But since that time, when I was in high school, I branched into playing the piano. And when I was in college, I branched into playing the bass guitar. And from there, I've always been singing from, here and there. But now I do sing in a much more serious way. And I even rap from time to time, under a moniker that I've come up with. But that I'm calling Coda Lamb. So there's that. But then I also produce music. I songwrite. I mix studio music. I mix front of house at church. And these are all things that have brought so much character and depth and life to my life. And that's beautiful. I could be well-rounded. I could be. I love this quote. I think, where did I see this? I think I saw this on YouTube. Oop. I saw this on YouTube that this apparently is completely a misquoted phrase. Completely misquoted. It is a quote by, who is it by? I don't know. Who is it by? Sheesh. I wish I knew. Let me see. I might be harping on this. I might be harping on who the author is. I don't know who the author is, and I hate to quote something without knowing who the author is. Ooh, Zuzana Benko. Zuzana Benko is the author of this quote. Oh, so, wait. No, that's wrong. Victor Viksik. Okay, so Victor Viksik said, and you will know this quote, but I recently saw a post where they were saying that this quote is always misquoted to say that if you have many talents or many skills, that it's not good. It's not a good thing. A jack of all trades is a master of none. That's what people say, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. Right? And I've always heard that. I mean, I can't say that it's been told to me often, but I know that when I was talking to, I know maybe the first time I heard that, I might have been talking to my dad about having many talents and about having many things that I can do. And this was the first time I heard this. A jack of all trades is a master of none, right? But what's the rest of that quote? This is amazing. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So there's a comma in here. There's a comma. There is a second part of that quote. It is not just that a jack of all trades is a master of none. Okay. So growing up, to me, that means this is not good, Ife, that you can do so many things. It's not good. It's not good. You're not going to be able to monetize in all these different things that you do. That's how I internalized it. And I think that's usually how it's used. It's usually used to say, if you have all these things that you're doing, you better not, because you need to have one thing that you do. But the rest of it says, oftentimes, a jack of all trades is actually better than being a master of just one thing. So yeah, this article is saying that sometimes calling someone a jack of all trades implies that they are not very skillful in any of the areas in which they claim expertise, and that their skill is superficial. And that is not true at all. I'm not even a broadcaster. I just like the sound of my own voice. No, that's not true. But I know people like the sound of my voice. And that's not even something that's a skill yet. And I think that goes into the question of talent versus skill. How much is it talent? How much is it skill? And, I would say that they're equally important, because there are things that people, including myself, are not talented at. And they will never be talented at it for some reason. But then there are things that people, including myself, are talented at, but don't have any skill in. Like, for example, I honestly can't even say if I'm talented at sports. I do enjoy some sports, okay? But just because you just enjoy doing something doesn't mean you have a skill at it. As a musician, I clearly, as a young child, it was clear I had a talent in music. I remember one of my earliest memories of learning music was I was a really, really little kid. I probably could have been about 3 or 4. And I remember being in a room where they had these different cards on the wall representing different rhythms. So there were, bars of rhythm. So maybe one bar had 4 quarter notes in it. Ta, 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 ta. Then there was another bar that had 6 eighth notes. So ta, 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 or 8 eighth notes. Ta, 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 ta. And then they had, bunches of couples of 4 16th notes. Ta, 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 right? And I remember learning about rhythm. And I remember they taught us this rhythm and taught us to clap this rhythm. And then they went around and tried to have everybody, each person, one by one, clap to them this rhythm. And I remember just crushing it, man. And all the other kids, they were like, you know how when you're a teacher and you go around, you go to the first kid and the first kid just nails it? Like, you don't have to have them do it again because they did it so well. And then you go to the second kid and they're like struggling. So you spend 5-6 minutes just trying to get them up to speed because they're not really getting it, I remember just nailing it, man. And I would say that's probably one of the first times that I looked around and saw that in this area, I excelled. And I excelled in ways that other people noticed. And if I'm just being honest here, maybe I looked at it as I excelled compared to the others. Compared to the others, I excelled. And that's something that followed me my entire life. That I would look around and I'd see I excel compared to others. I excel in this area. And it wasn't even just that, like there are areas where I have talent. There are areas I know I don't. Okay. There's lots of things that I try to do maybe, or maybe I think about doing, or maybe I want to be talented at it, like dancing, for example. But I just maybe am not. Maybe I want to develop the skill, and you could develop the skill in areas that you are interested in, but that doesn't mean that you have talent. You know what I'm saying? Talent, in what I understand, is about the spirit of it, the raw talent. It's in you as a person. It's in your spirit. But skill needs to be applied and becomes discipline to something that is raw and undisciplined. The talent by itself isn't enough to go far with it. The talent on its own is not enough. And that's something that I fully embrace. So I said all that to say, I'm actually having a really good time filming this. I think that I was dilly-dallying earlier. I think that I was maybe dilly-dallying because I was feeling a little insecure. But what will be, and I'm just going to continue to push on. I want to have a good routine. But yeah, so I talked a lot about talent versus skill, but let me know. Put in a comment section. Put it in the comment section. Put it in the comment section. What am I supposed to say? I think I'm supposed to say like and subscribe and comment. That's what I'm supposed to say. So put it in the comment section. Tell me, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that it's talent? Do you think that it's skill? Do you think that there's a difference between talent and skill? What do you think makes it possible to go far with a gift? What makes it a gift? Is it a gift because you worked at it? Is it a gift because it was there before you started working at it? I want to know what you think. Let's have a conversation. Put it down there. Come on. Put it. Man, you better. All right. Yeah, so I said all that to say that I'm going to get into a routine starting next week because it's Saturday. I'm going to get into a routine. And it's like, I've been chilling the past couple of days. Typically, Saturday would be my rest day. And it's almost kind of daunting to think that I'm going to have to say I'm going to have to, that's going to make me feel stressed. But I guess it's a new opportunity, and anybody, given the circumstances, would require a time of adjusting. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I want to give myself grace, and I want to work through it, and I want to be engaged in it. And I want some advice and tips on starting a new routine. How do you start a new routine? Let me know. Let me know because I need help, because I don't know what to do. I want to do things in a way. I want to do things in a way, particularly the way that I want to do things is I want to do things in a way where I'm showing grace to myself. Because in the past, there was a time in the past where I refused to work a conventional job. And instead, I just spent all this time making music that wasn't very good. But I learned about production, and, it's all right, But I definitely spent a lot of time because I was just in rebellion and I did not want to work a conventional job. Now, this is different because I truly am sensing the leading of the Holy Spirit that this is something to step out into and take it and go with it where it's going. Because really there isn't any options for me in the conventional world right now. And until this government gets in alignment and stops acting crazy like this, there is not a place for me in the conventional world right now. In the future, praise God, in the future, bring it on. But there is not a place for me in the conventional world right now. Nor is there a place for anybody else who has made a similar decision as I have. For whatever reason. How hard is it to respect somebody's decision? Leave them alone. Especially when there's no data or science that is backing up these claims that this is something I have to do. I don't have to do it. I don't have to do anything. Absolutely, I don't. And it's so funny because at first, de Blasio coming on television with the Shake Shack burger, and he's talking and he's like smacking into the microphone. I'm like, bro, who raised you? Who raised you? You're smacking eating a burger on live television, telling people, oh, you like this? That's what he was like, you like this? You want one of these? This is good. You want one of these? Go get it. Go get the shot, son. You want some of this? Go get the shot. It started with that, right? It started with not Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kreme. Ugh. For some, that'd be enough. There are people out there who Krispy Kreme would just be enough. I mean, when Krispy Kreme came to New York City, we went kind of crazy with the Krispy Kreme. Okay, I'm not going to lie, because Krispy Kreme is delectable. So at first it started with that. You want some free, one free meal, one free donut, go get the shot. And then this is what it's turned into. At first it was, this is for your health. All right, so I'll do it or I won't. And then it was, we'll give you some snacks. Okay, I'll do it or I won't. We'll give you free burgers. I don't eat burgers. We'll give you a free donut. I don't eat sweets. We'll give you $50. I don't care about money. We'll give you $100. I don't care. We will take away your job and shun you from society. I don't care about my job. I don't care about going to a restaurant. I don't care about going to a bar. I don't care. I got friends. I got home. I got a tiny little cocktail shaker and some ice. I'll shake my own cocktails. I'll make my own dinner. Okay? How about that? What you gonna do then? And now apparently my job, my former employer, now they're offering people not $50, not $100. They are offering people $500 to take a shot. $500. How do you even justify that? Because then in my own head, I'm doing these calculations and I'm just like, $500 after they just suspended you. It's been 30 days. You ain't got your paycheck. Let's say your paycheck is, like $3,000. But they're going to offer you $500 for the shot. But you're out $3,000. And then they say, well, if you resign, we'll let you have all of your sick pay, all of your PTO that you didn't use. We'll let you have that as a check. And on top of that, if you resign now, we'll give you an extra week's worth of pay. So let's say bi-monthly I get $1,500. Let's just say, I'm not saying that's how much, I'm just saying. Let's say you get $1,500 bi-monthly, or bi-weekly, not bi-monthly, bi-weekly. So 1 week, what is that, $750? So you're going to give me my annual time. Maybe I have a week. Maybe I have a week of sick time. Okay, so that's the month. And then another thing on top of that, so that's 750. Okay, so yeah, okay, so you'd get that. But what if you don't? What if you have no annual time? What if you have no annual time and a week of sick time? Maybe you have 2 weeks of sick time. So that's $1,500. And then you add 1 week, which is the $750. But you're still out a whole month. And you don't have a job to go to. So Lord knows how long you're going to be out of this job. But here's the kicker. In order for you to resign, you can't just resign and collect the money. You have to resign and sign a waiver that says that you have no claims against the system, and essentially means you cannot sue them for anything in the future. So whether you do go in and do something against your conscience, or even if it's not against your conscience, if it's just because they told you to, or even if you don't and you decide on principle I'm going to resign, they still stick it in your butt. They still get to bend you over and ram that stick in your butt. They still get to do it. And I think it's funny. I think it's really funny. So I'm just like, resign. Oh, you're going to give me all that time? I don't care. I have like 2 weeks of sick time. I spend all of my annual time. All of my PTO is gone because I was on vacation at a place very similar to where we are right now. I was on vacation in Mexico right before this whole nonsense went down. So I came back to work and they was like, what's your name? They had this whole list. It was like going into a club, and some exclusive club, and they were the bouncers. And I told them what my name was. I told them, well, I was out of the country. They wanted me to go on quarantine, blah, 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 blah. And they said, they whispered something to each other. They said, yeah, she's on it. Yeah, she's on the list. Yeah, she is. We've been instructed to confiscate your employee ID. Wow. What? So, hate is gonna hate. Love is gonna love. I don't even want none of the above. This is definitely a time. It is a time and a half of a time, as the young people like to say. It is a time and a half. But I think it's more than strange and weird and like I want to push away from it. It's exciting. It's exciting. I can't say any more than that. It's just very exciting. So I shared a little bit about myself and about who I am. I told you that I am born and raised in Brooklyn. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you I'm a Brooklyn person? I'm a Brooklyn person, man. I'm a Brooklyn person. I am a Brooklyn person. This is just where I belong. My friends like to joke with me and they say, Ife, come on. When are you going to move to Manhattan? You're going to move to Manhattan, right? When are you going to move? I'm like, never. When are you going to move to Brooklyn? Huh? When are you moving to Brooklyn? Because Brooklyn is where it's at. I'm sorry. Brooklyn is where it's at. Why would I want to go to Manhattan? Y'all ever been to Manhattan? I remember once I had some friends who moved into this apartment and they had some people over. It was a few people. It was less than 10 people that they had over. And this was a couple of years ago. It was less than 10 people that they had over. But their apartment was so small that with all of the noise and stuff, we were all playing games and eating and drinking and having a good time. And I think that when that combination comes around, people just start talking in a volume that is just too loud for comfort. It's just more volume than is ever necessary. But they were chatting and talking and whatever, and I just felt this malaise come over me. I just cannot do noise. I just can't do noise. I know you're like, well, you're a musician. Don't you like music? Whatever, you listen to music sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want to hear anything. Sometimes I just want to sit down and be in silence. Sometimes you just want to ride the train without any headphones on. Sometimes I just put my headphones on and put it on like silent mode. Sometimes, just for fun, I just like to sit around with earplugs in my ears because I can't do noise, man. I can't do noise. So the amount of noise and just the cacophony of sounds that was going on in that room was really getting to me, and I started to feel ill. So I went into my friend's room and I sat there. And it helped because there was a wall dividing. But I ended up going into the kitchen, and it was like that was the only way of getting any respite. So eventually I went to the bathroom, and then going to the bathroom is what really did it for me. Like that's what pushed me over the edge. I'm in the bathroom and I'm sitting on the toilet, and the stinking sink is so cramped up in there. My knee is like touching the sink. And you might be saying like, well, it's New York City. My knee touches my sink when I'm on the toilet. But the fact of the matter is that I was already so uncomfortable with the space in there and the amount of people that were in there and how loud it was that just threw me over the edge. I just thought, I can't stay here. I cannot. I need to go home. And I thought, I need to go home, and I'm never, ever, ever moving to Manhattan. Ever. I would never live here. So that's all I thought about on my ride home. But once I got out of the train and I turned the corner on my block, and I just felt like the space, I felt the space, and I felt the dew in the air and the cool breeze. The air was fresher, the air's fresher in Brooklyn. It's just, angels sing in Brooklyn, doves come into your window and wake you up in the morning gently, ever so softly, singing sweet, sweet melodies in Brooklyn. Everything is lovely and everyone's happy here. It's better. It's just all around better than where you live. So I just remember feeling this great, great relief when I turned the corner and I was on my block, I just remember being like, thank you, Lord. I'm so happy that I live here. Because Manhattan is just not, it's not the place where people should live. It traumatized me. It's not the place to live. Anywho, well, I mean, I'm looking at the time right now. It looks like I have a pretty long episode here today. And what did I talk about? I talked about myself. Yep. I talked about me. But it's okay. You know, we're getting to know each other. I want you to get to know me too. There's so many other things that I would love to talk to you about. But some of the topics that we talked on that I would love for you to comment down below include talent versus skill. What's the difference to you? Do you think that people need talent in order to really be skilled at something? That's a good question. Look, when it comes to counseling, the reason why I believe I'm a skilled counselor, but the reason why I'm a skilled counselor is because I innately have a talent for being curious and asking questions. I innately am a very curious and thoughtful person. So, in adding skill, I don't know. How much skill do I have as a counselor? I don't know. I honestly don't even know. I think that the skill that I have is just confidence to step out and say, well, it's about curiosity, being curious. That's a talent. That's an innate gift. That's, for lack of a better word, something raw and unformed and unsculpted. And when it comes to skill, I say maybe wisdom needs to be added to it. Discernment needs to be added to it. Discipline needs to be added to it. Because if all I was curious, I would be very, very inappropriate with that curiosity. So the skill in that, I would say, is knowing when, knowing that there are some questions, you know, you want to ask wise questions and allow wisdom to guide that curiosity. The curiosity is the unformed thing. The wisdom and discipline and discernment, these are the areas of skill, I'd say, that when added to that natural talent, that's when amazing things happen, I'd say. So cool, man. I went so long, and I could go longer because I'm having a good time. I'm having a really good time. So the thing for me, I'd say, I want to plot out, obviously, I want to plot out what days I do what. That's going to be the second thing I'm going to ask you to comment down below about. Give me some advice about how do I develop a routine, because I'm going to need days where I am doing music, where I'm focusing on some music projects. I'm going to need days where I'm focusing on a business. I have a brand that I am building. Is that what people say? They're building their brand. I have a business that I'm building right now, so I need a day to focus on that thing. I also need a day to focus on, I suppose, planning, marketing, that kind of situation. So I know I'm gonna go into doing some TikTok as a way of marketing. So I'm gonna need a day towards that. But I think, like, I don't know. Do I really need a whole day towards planning? Probably not. I definitely need a whole day to do TikTok videos, though. I need a whole day to do a whole batch of TikTok videos. So I need some help. Maybe 1 or 2 days during the week to do music-based stuff. I also need I do need planning. I do need a planning day because I'll need to plan lots of different things. I need to plan music. I need to plan practice. I need to plan skill development. I need to plan, did I already say business? Business. I need to plan podcasts. I need to plan TikTok. I need to plan marketing. So maybe I do need that then. And then the podcast, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take some time to set up, I'm realizing. And I'm going to have to figure out how do I adjust this camera so that the lighting is better for me. And that takes time. So maybe half a day for that. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. I'm looking at my hand trying to figure out. I have 5 days, right? Obviously, I don't have to just do weekdays. But I know Sunday is not a day that I can do much work because church. And I know Saturday, I would typically take off on Saturday because I definitely believe in having a Sabbath, a rest day. Definitely believe in that. Not religious, but having it one day where you don't do anything work-wise it'll change your life. It'll change your life. And I've been doing it for years and it's amazing. I was making a joke. I was saying to myself, when you're young, people talk about anti-aging, doing anti-aging things so that you're not, it's better to prevent wrinkles than it is to get rid of them. Oh shucks, that's not even what I was saying. I was talking about sleeping. Yeah, you don't get to be my age and look this young by sleeping 8 hours a night. This skin requires a solid 12 hours a night with a midday 3-hour nap. Yep, I was talking about feeling shamed. When I am clearly sleeping midday and somebody calls me and I wake up and try my best to put on some pep in my voice so that they don't know, hopefully they don't know that yes, I was sleeping. I was sleeping. Like I pick up the phone, I'm like, let me shake the sleep out. Hello, you. How are you doing? And they're like, why are you talking? Were you asleep? No. Ife, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. So you don't get to be my age with skin like this off of 8 hours of sleep a night, okay? This baby requires a solid 12 hours plus a 3-hour midday nap. But yeah, I definitely have felt very ashamed. I have felt very ashamed for picking up, depending on what time it is, picking up the phone, having just been sleeping. Because it's always like, how are you still sleeping right now? Like that's the response. How are you sleeping? It's 1:00. I know what time it is. Or actually, I didn't know what time it was because I was sleeping. Thanks for waking me up. The nerve. Anywho, I'm really having a great time talking to you. But like every good thing in life, all good things must come to an end. Well. Okay, so I don't want to go, but I am going to go. And I guess I'll take some time and come back next time. But thank you so much for joining me. This was all the things I love with me, Ife. And here's to you getting into all the things you love too. All right. God bless. Take care. And be well.
Things I
Bye.
love with me, Ife.